Why don't you ever prepare? Why don't you prepare? Kathy Hochul had to do it.
True?
No, it's not true. No, it is true.
He reclassified it.
Stop.
He reclassified
Haley,
it.
you now need a prescription, and CVS and Walgreens is denying it to people because of the quote-unquote regulatory environment. You can thumb your nose at it. You are healthy and lucky you.
Why don't you ever prepare? That line that Jessica Tarloff erupted at Jesse Waters is not only the theme of the Republican Party, but it also ended up defining the week in Washington too. Because just days earlier, the Health and Human Services Secretary, RFK Jr., sat in front of the Senate and showed the same problem. No preparation for the most basic question imaginable.
You're the Secretary of Health and Human Services. You don't have any idea how many Americans died from COVID?
I don't think anybody knows that.
You sure about that?
And these are model
You don't know the answer of how many Americans died from COVID. This is the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Do you think the vaccine did anything to prevent additional deaths?
Again, I would like to see the data and talk about the data.
You have had this job for 8 months, and you don't know the data about whether the vaccine saved lives?
Whether it's a panelist or the person running public health, being unprepared doesn't just lose arguments, it costs trust and American lives. But we shouldn't be surprised that RFK Jr. doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, we're talking about the guy who literally had brainworms. F***ing brainworms! Many people made sure to mock him during his unhinged hearing, including the Democrats and even Gavin Newsom's press office. But how could they not? The guy was breathing into the mic like he was auditioning for Darth Vader.
The RSV vaccine offers these kids protection against the worst effects of the virus. But now it looks like you're on a crusade to make infants and babies.
It got so distracting that an aide had to lean in and tell him to stop.
Politics from science.
Senator Bennett, Mr. Secretary, in June, you fired every member. Mr. Secretary, are you?
And before senators even began questioning RFK Jr., a protester interrupted and accused him of killing millions.
The committee will come to order.
And honestly, him killing millions would just be the natural step on his resume. I'm not talking about him eating barbecue dogs or chainsawing whales or even dumping bears in Central Park. I'm talking about how in 2019, RFK Jr.'s anti-vax propaganda in Samoa helped fuel 5,700 measles infections and killed 83 children.
In Samoa, there were 2 children that died immediately following receipt of a measles vaccine. And the way it works in Samoa is they have a MMR vaccine in powdered form. It needs to be diluted in water. 2 nurses made a mistake. Instead of diluting it in water, they diluted it in a muscle relaxant. Those children stopped breathing and died immediately. Now, very quickly, within 2 weeks, it was realized what that mistake was. It was a nursing error. But nonetheless, RFK Jr. seized on that. He flooded Facebook with the information that measles vaccine is killing children in Samoa. He went to Samoa. He met with anti-vaccine activists. He met with senior officials in Samoa and kept the drumbeat alive that measles vaccine was killing children in Samoa. As a consequence, vaccination rates fell from 70% to 30%. And between September and December of 2019, there was a massive measles epidemic. In this island nation of 200,000 people, there were 57,000 cases of measles and 83 deaths. Most of those deaths were in children less than 4 years of age. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr. had everything to do with that. And that shows you how disinformation can kill.
And this is the guy that MAGA wants in charge.
Shocker.
But the protester wasn't wrong about the stakes, and her interruption set the tone. The hearing was supposed to clarify vaccine policy, but instead, it immediately went off the rails.
After firing the entire...
You're evading the question.
You're interrupting me, and sir, you're a charlatan. That's what you are.
You're making things up to scare people, and it's a lie.
So let me ask you, when were you lying, sir?
I don't even know what you're talking about. You're talking gibberish.
You are a hazard to the health of the American people.
Can I respond to that, Senator?
No, I claim back my time.
This is the same guy who, I just want to remind everyone watching, has no medical degree or experience, but he has the audacity to say that doctors and scientists should not be trusted and that they're lying to you.
So she's lying today to the American people in the Wall Street Journal.
Yes, sir.
American Academy of Pediatrics, you think they're lying too?
I think the American Academy of Pediatrics is gravely conflicted. Senator, I mean, we were lied to about everything. We are being lied to by these agencies, and we're going to change that right now.
Pretty rich coming from a guy whose track record of lies rivals Donald Trump's daily output.
Over the summer in an interview, you said, quote, "There's no vaccine that is, safe and effective." Do you still believe that?
I never said that.
So stop me. We have the clip. Please play the clip.
I think some of the live virus vaccines are probably averting more problems than they're causing. There's no vaccine that is, safe and effective.
Awkward.
Then came one of the strangest exchanges of the day between Senator Bill Cassidy, a Republican physician and vaccine advocate, and RFK Jr.
Mr. Secretary, do you agree with me that the president deserves a Nobel Prize for Operation Warp Speed?
Yeah, absolutely, Senator. That was phenomenal.
Let me ask you, but you just told Senator Bennett that the COVID vaccine killed more people than COVID.
Wait,
that was a statement.
I did not say that.
Okay, then let me ask, because you also were
Senator, I just want to make clear, I did not say that.
We'll check the record. That's a question of fact. You also said that you were also, as lead attorney for the Children's Health Defense, you engaged in multiple lawsuits attempting to restrict access to the COVID vaccine. Again, it surprises me that you think so highly of Operation Warp Speed when, as an attorney, you attempted to restrict access.
All right, let's just pause here for a sec. First, Senator Cassidy is a Republican. Let me repeat myself. Senator Cassidy is a Republican. And second, you can't praise Warp Speed for saving lives if you claim the vaccine killed more people than the virus. Then Senator Elizabeth Warren pressed on him why he fired the CDC director, and his answer was, jaw-dropping.
Medicare will still pay for them, and Medicaid will still pay for them.
Tell the head of the CDC that if she refused to sign off on your changes to the childhood vaccine schedule, that she had to resign.
No, I told her that she had to resign because I asked her, are you a trustworthy person? And she said no.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Yep, that's right. The nation's top health official explained that he fired the CDC director because she wasn't trustworthy, or at least that's what he claims. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. I'm so excited to see Kyren Williams take the field this season. I'm thinking that in the first game, he can have even more than one rushing touchdown. PrizePicks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. PrizePicks is also the best way to get action on sports in more than 40 plus states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. PrizePicks is the best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off, which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your stakes into cash all season long on PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. Download the app today and use code Sanchez to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Sanchez to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Warren then pushed him on the narrowing access to COVID vaccines under the new FDA recommendation. She said it directly contradicted his confirmation pledge not to take vaccines away.
What you should be doing is honoring your promise that you made when you were looking to get confirmed in this job.
You're going like this.
And that is, you promised that you would not take away vaccines from anyone who wanted them. You just changed the classification of the COVID vaccine.
I'm not taking them away from people, Senator.
It takes it away if you can't get it from your pharmacist.
Well, most Americans are going to be able to get it from their pharmacy for free. Most Americans will be able to get it from their pharmacy for free.
The question is everyone who wants it. That was your promise.
No, I didn't. I never promised that I was going to recommend products with which there is no indication.
It was the Senate version of the Jesse Waters-Jessica Tarla fight that I showed at the beginning, only louder and with more at stake. In less than 9 months, RFK Jr. has managed to dismantle trust in funding, research, and scientists, and this was his explanation.
If we don't end this chronic disease, we are the sickest country in the world. That's why we have to fire people at CDC. They did not do their job.
But the exchange that crystallized everything came from Senator Mark Warner.
You don't know the answer of how many Americans died from COVID. This is the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Do you think the vaccine did anything to prevent additional deaths?
Again, I would like to see the data and talk about the data.
You have had this job for 8 months, and you don't know the data about whether the vaccine saved
and
lives?
that's the problem.
Mr. Chairman, the Secretary of Health and Human Services doesn't know how many Americans died from COVID. Doesn't know if the vaccine helped prevent any deaths. And you are sitting as Secretary of Health and Human Services? How can you be that ignorant?
That's the Senate version of Jessica Tarloff's "Why don't you ever prepare?" Except this time, the person being called out isn't a pundit, it's the fucking guy running public health. Later, Dr. Dimitri Daskalakis, who just resigned as director of the National Center for Immunization and Respiratory Diseases, said what everyone else was thinking. RFK Jr. lied to Congress.
We were just stunned at the number of mistruths that we heard. We heard that David Geyer was not doing research. That's not true. He is, in fact, doing research. He is looking at the vaccine safety data link. You can talk to my colleague, Dr. Jernigan, who can go into great detail on that. We heard that we briefed him. That is also untrue. We heard that he never told Susan that she shouldn't be involved in making any decisions for vaccine policy. That is also untrue. We heard him evade the answer about how many people died of COVID. I think that he just doesn't want to answer the question because he wants to minimize the impact of vaccine. So we were sitting listening to this going, we can't believe the state of our country that the head of the health agency for the United States is actually standing before Congress, just continually making things up. He did not tell the truth.
So you're saying he lied to Congress?
He lied to Congress.
And if all of that wasn't enough, the hearing veered into another bizarre lane. Senator Tina Smith called him out for dangling a fake link between antidepressants and school shootings.
Just last week, in the days after the tragic shooting at Annunciation Catholic School in my home state of Minnesota, you went on Fox News blaming school shootings on antidepressants. You have no evidence of that because you have no evidence of a connection. And you want to talk about...
You're just saying something. You're just making stuff up.
A person who's trans, that was transitioning, are you going to be examining at all some of the drugs that are used in order to make that transition happening to see if it plays a role? Because we also know there was a trans shooter in the Tennessee situation.
Yeah, we are doing those kind of studies now at NIH. We're launching studies on the potential contribution of some of the SSRI drugs and some of the other psychiatric drugs that might be contributing to violence. Many of them on there have black box warnings that warn of suicidal ideation and homicidal ideation. So we can't exclude those as a culprit, and those are the kind of studies that we're doing.
He said it live on Fox News and then lied about saying it a few days later. And then he tried to clear it up as potential. And honestly, should anyone be surprised? I mean, this is the same guy who once claimed that he could diagnose children's health issues just by looking at them.
And I know what a healthy child is supposed to look like. I'm looking at kids as I walk through the airports today, as I walk down the street, and I see these kids that are just overburdened with mitochondrial challenges, with inflammation. You can tell from their faces, from their body movements, and from their lack of social connection. And I know that that's not how our children are supposed to look.
And what does Donald Trump think about all of this? Well, let's take a look.
Do you have full confidence in what RFK Jr. is doing?
Well, I didn't get to watch the hearings today, but he's a very good person. And he means very well, and he's got some little different ideas. I guarantee a lot of the people at this table like RFK Jr., and I do. But he's got a different take, and we want to listen to all of those takes. But I heard he did very well today.
Trump said he didn't see it, but then said that RFK Jr. did very well, which is a bit odd considering the fact that he got grilled by both Democrats and Republicans.
It's not your standard. It's not your standard talk, I would say, and that has to do with medical and vaccines. But if you look at what's going on in the world with health, and look at this country also with regard to health, I like the fact that he's different.
Are we absolutely sure that Trump doesn't have brainworms too? Because this whole train wreck of a hearing was just another reminder of how unprepared this administration is. RFK Jr. lied his way through testimony, mouth breathed into a microphone, and admitted that he doesn't know the COVID death toll. And Trump's Yelp review is 5 stars, would hire again. Which makes sense. Neither of them knows what they're doing, and we're the ones paying the price. Thanks for watching What Was That? If you want more episodes, articles, and breakdowns, go to whatwasthat.show. Join the community and become a paid subscriber today. It's just me behind the scenes, so every bit of support really makes a difference. And if you'd rather listen on the go, you can find What Was That on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your shows. Until next time, I'm Gabe Sanchez, and this has been What Was That?